We are live. Hello everyone and welcome into this video about project management, and more specifically today we are going to talk about um, the differences between an Agile project and a waterfall project, why this video is needed, and who is addressed to. So first of all, the video is addressed to everyone that is working in services with projects, and it's addressed to every industries. What is important, just like you're working with projects and you're not working with products. And the second thing is just like why this project is needed. This video is really needed because, um, words are important in the moment where we just need to understand what we are talking about. And unfortunately, I had a lot of conversation where I just realized many people are misusing the project words, first of all. So when you talk with people, everything is a project, but when are you going to detail in reality? Not everyone are actually working with projects, and this is important, and this is one of the reasons why it's important to hiring an expert in every field, in this case in project management or project control or strategic projects. And at the same time, once we are sure that person is working with projects, many times they are not specifying if they are using Agile project or waterfall project. And unfortunately, if you are mix them up, you're not achieving the result that you wish or that you have agreed with your client, because the two type of projects, there are so many, but these are the main two, are just important for setting up all the processes and the leadership that you need to have while you're running that project. So this is the reason why I thought it was a good idea to have this video today, for seeing exactly what are the main differences. We're not gonna go over all of them, but I want you to understand when you're talking about one or the other one, like category or project, because this is gonna influence, first of all, your processes. So how you set up the project, and secondly also the kind of leadership that you need to have with stakeholders, clients, and your team. The leadership is so important if you want everything to move forward. So if you set up the wrong leadership with the other type of project category, you can't achieve the good results, and therefore you are going to have project problems after. So let's see first of all very quickly how the two projects change, and then if you want to, you're more than welcome to keep watching this video and see more details, the pure characteristic of each project. So I wish to start with a waterfall project. I know that is on the bottom of the slide, but I'm sure that everyone have in mind a waterfall project. Because it's the majority of the cases that we had faced until 2025. I think this is based on my personal experience, that probably from now on, actually maybe many projects are going to move into the Agile category, but right now, up to today, I can think 90% of the projects are actually waterfall. So waterfall project is just a project where you're gonna have a phase, and the phase, you have multiple phase, but before moving from phase 1 to phase 2, you just need to fully complete the phase 1. A typical example about this type of project in you, sorry, I'm trying. Okay, here I am. Sorry. So in construction project, you have to finish different a phase before starting a new one. And so, for instance, like you are going to do all the design. And once the design is done and is approved, you can move into the construction site, which is going to be phase 2. This is just like for simplifying the concept, but this is exactly the concept of a waterfall project. So let's repeat it once more. A waterfall project is a project where in order to start the phase number 2, you need to complete the phase number 1. And you understand that this is something that you need to set up in the pre-phase of the project. While when we are talking about the Agile project, in reality, in this case, you can just start the second phase, even though the first one is not finished yet. Why? Because the main characteristic of an Agile project is just before starting the project, when you are like trying to understand if this project can move on or, can start. So when you are in the pre-phase phase, in reality, you know where you start, but you don't know where you're gonna end up. So a typical example in our world for an Agile project are like IT projects. In this case, it could happen that in the moment where you are developing a software, a new technology came into the market, something happens, and the outcome might look completely different from the beginning. So while if we are coming back to whatever was the construction example, you know that you want to build your house. Okay, maybe the shape of the house is gonna be, the shape is gonna be the same, and instead of having one type of color internally on the wall, you're gonna have another type of paint. But generally speaking, when you start a waterfall project, you already know where you're gonna end up. And when you start an Agile project, you know where you start. You do not really know where you're gonna end. You have an idea, but it's not too clear. It's kind of blurry. And this is something that you need to keep in mind during your leadership, you understand, because one is flexible, the other one is not. So let's move inside the slide once more. This slide is just for saying that we are a strategic project consultancy. So if you are gonna have any training or if you want help in setting up the correct leadership for your project, please have a look at our services, our website, and get in contact with us with a website like www.internationalexitstrategy.com, or directly with me if you're seeing this video, if you're watching this video on LinkedIn. You can find me simply as Stefania Arca. So let's see here some details more specifically. So in the waterfall project, you have like a structure. So as I was saying, like each phase has to be completed before the next one starts. So here, just put, for instance, you have the design, then you, after the design phase, you move it into the development, then the testing, and at the end you have the release. So your project is actually becoming a solution and is actually becoming a product, and once it's a product, it can be marketed. As well, like the waterfall project, you need to take care about the planning, because if you know what is happening in the next phase, every plan needs to be really detailed and strict. Making a change here, it's something complicated. So, I mean, you just need to be really good in change management. Because they are not impossible, but they are really difficult to understand, to make, because of course, if you really knew from the start where you need to end, you need to give real good justifications and reasons for making a change. While in the Agile project, for instance, the change management is easier because, as I said earlier, it's everything like blurry at the end. So change management here, it's easier because since it's Agile projects are based on flexibility and being like ready that today everything could happen, change are part of the game. While in the waterfall projects, change is really, 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 really complicated. Not impossible, I repeat once more, but yeah, you just need to give good reasons why you want to make a change, and you need to have a solid foundation for the change. Flexibility here in the waterfall project, the flexibility is really low, and because the requirements are clear and stable, and at the same time you need to have an eye on control. So documentation is a must. You can't have everything on a post-it. You need to have everything documented very well, and also like people needs to know, needs to find like easily the document. So you need to work also on your organization skills here. And when I say everyone needs to find the document very easily, I'm talking about also your stakeholders, not only your team. So every step here is tracked and formalized, and that's it. You know where you need to go, everything is documented, and so control here is really high. Let's move into the Agile project, and let's see the same parameters, how they're gonna change. So in the Agile project structure, is slightly less strict than in the waterfall. So here work is divided in short cycles that are called sprints, and each delivery is a small upgrade, let's say like this, because you're working in incrementing a product or solution. So you just work with small steps and trying to have to progress based on small steps, instead of having like one stage that could last so many months, like in construction, for instance, like one I remember like one stage last almost 1.5 years, only one stage. And if you take also like a construction site, maybe those are in place 2 years or something even longer, while like IT project usually have a phase that is going to be around-ish 3 months. The planning, okay. Talking about the planning, it needs to be adapted and progressive. So in this way, requirements can evolve through the project. So it means that you are going to double check justification for the business constantly. And I mean, you just need to be really, really adaptable. So I have just highlighted here that your priorities can shift, and if those are shifting, planning is updated regularly. Yeah. As well, like always, double check customers' needs and also the market feedbacks. Then if we're gonna see flexibility here, as I think I have already said it, but flexibility in Agile project is really, really high, and change simply became your best man. In terms of control, you need to focus on continuous collaborations in order to achieving the delivery value that you wish. So here in this case, you need to be like such a good team player. You need to collaborate inside your team with the client, with your boss, with if you're the boss, with your team members, and more importantly also with stakeholders, because many times people are trying to give more priorities, like if you're gonna have an instruction from the client, but when stakeholders ask for something, you are just not, you are so overwhelmed that you're not giving the value that they deserved. And therefore, so many friction might raise because of this situation. So yeah, if you're working in the Agile project, definitely you need to improve your collaborative skills. Let's move forward. So let's see how mindset works in these two cases. Why I'm talking about mindset? Because everything, the way you set up the project is the way you are thinking strategically. And this is also why in international exit strategy we want to provide help also in the mentorships, because we really believe that delivery is just consequences of your mindset. So let's see how they change. In the waterfall project, you're looking for stability, upfront planning, and control. So if you are one of these type of people that feels okay if everything is under control, waterfall project are your way to go. If instead you are like a dynamic person and you are okay in changing and facing a new challenging and solving problems every day, you just need to go with the Agile project, because in this case you need to have an adaptability mindset. So you just like the adventure, you just like one similarity that I use, just like riding the bike. The bike is, you need to keep moving if you want to stay on balance. And the moment where you stop, the wheels are not gonna move forward anymore, and you just fall down. So if you want to work in the Agile project, you just need to ride the bike and keep moving pedals. So when are best used? Of course, because they have different characteristics. There are situations where one category is best used than the other one. So the waterfall projects are best used with fixed and predictable requirements, while the agile ones are best used where requirements might change and this is out of your control. Or just like as I said earlier, like the end part is unclear, and therefore you just need to set up everything differently in this case. Keywords for understand if we are talking about waterfall project or like an agile one. Yeah, in the waterfall project, the keywords are stability and control, of course. In the Agile project, the keywords are rapid delivery, flexibility, and continuous innovation. So probably right now reading it, I will add also collaborative. But yeah, I mean, you got the point right now. Leadership. We love today to talk about leaderships and let's see what are the misunderstandings here. And just for connecting in the intro where I was just like, I have so many conversations where I can see like people are confused about the type of project they are working on, and therefore like even the action consequences might not be the best. The type of action they take, they must not be the best choice for the project type. So in this case, in the waterfall project, we have something that it feels on the paper. So therefore, like because it's there, we feel safe, and we might not think, if I may say something like that. So it means that when things change, and they always do, things are always change. In a reality, here the change became a drama, and I want to connect here, if you are in this situation, with the mini-series that I done with Barbara, which is our expert for stress management, where we have highlighted 5 steps for overcoming the discomfort that came with change. Because many times, so when I'm working in waterfall projects, people, because they know where they need to go, and they all start with that mindset saying like, yes, I can start this project because I know where I go and I feel confident that I can achieve the result. But as I was saying, like life gets in the way and changes always happen. Maybe they could be small, but there's gonna be always some kind of change. Just with the risk, in management we have a risk and issues, and one of the two is always happening, and this means that we need to change something in running our project. And in this case, people are really struggling, and the main reason of friction, the main reason of delays, the main reason of overwhelmed are because they can't accept the change, and they are there like kind of, allow me the expression, crying in whatever was before. They can't let it go, and so they are moving in something that they are not ready for, they are struggling with, and they have at the same time still ways or whatever was before, whatever was make them comfortable. So if you are in this situation, please have a look at the mini-series, the 5 A's for the change that I have done with Barbara. And because it's really important as a personal skill. I'm not talking as a professional one. It's a very important that you need to learn how to deal with change and discomforts. And then another issue that you can have instead in the Agile one might be the speed, because in any case, it's true that the end is blurry, but at the same time, it's like if everything is too fast, you might not have the right analysis, the right data, the right feedbacks, and this might impact your outcome as well. So, leadership winners, let's see how you can win your leadership here. So if the keywords in the waterfall are clear structure and predictability, here the winners are like requirements are clear and fixed, scope is stable, the regulations in the industry, so your project is gonna comply those regulations. Deliverables are going to be well defined. Sequences, you're gonna have a sequences in dependencies, and as well like budget and time, which are like monsters in every project, are going to be really predictable and under control. And you know how important that is to stay on track with budget and times. And then when we're talking about instead Agile projects, because those are based in deep collaboration and adaptability, the winners are requirements that evolves, flexibility, again, just be ready for having continuous feedback. So feedbacks means changes, collaborative teams, and incremental value. So it might be that you start thinking that your project is gonna worth 10, and you ended up with a project worth 15. Of course, it's never gonna happen that you are going to have a project that if you thought that at the end the value is going to be 10, it might end up in 8. This is gonna go against the project management setup, saying that you're gonna do a change or you're gonna accept some risks and issues only if you're gonna have more benefits at the end of the day than disbenefits. If for some reason you can see that your value is gonna decrease, so if, for instance, it's gonna end up in 8, you just need to close your project before. So you're just gonna close the project, you're gonna do handover, and you're gonna work very hard on your lessons learned for understanding what worked, what didn't work, and what could have improved for having an impact, and based on that you're going to work on the second project. But you never have supposed to finish a project that is going to decrease the value. Just be smart and close it before it's going to be ended. And then as the last winner, we are going to have fast moving markets, sorry, but also mistakes. Yeah, it works in the same way in any case. And last questions from me to you for today is going to be like, can you mix the two project management versions and having like a hybrid leadership, a hybrid setup in the processes? The answer is no. You can't just mix them up. You can't mix up Agile leadership with the waterfall one, because as you have seen, the two mindset and processes do not work in the same way, and if you hand it up, you can achieve the best value. And the impact is really important. It's just a false myth. I know that people says like you can do it, but the reality, if you really study them, if you're really working on them, you can't. It's just gonna be like an Armageddon. And yeah, as a final one, I just want to leave you here saying like that you always need to remember that the project rarely fails because of technical, a lack in technical skills, but they usually fails because you're gonna have breaking down in relationships. So once more, I'm gonna repeat it once more. Project really fails because of a lack in technical skills. You can always cover them, that's fine. But project usually like 99% of the times fails because of the breakdown of relationships. So really work hard in your collaborative skills, in your communication skills, in your like also way of interacting and accepting like feedbacks or like discomfort with a change. So there are so many soft skills that you need to work on if you want to achieve a motivational environment that actually is going to push you forward your project. So for this video is everything. There's so much more we can say about these two type of project, but I mean, this is just some quick tips for you in better understanding. If you have any extra questions, please feel free to contact me directly. LinkedIn as Stefania Arca. You can see down here my name. Otherwise, you can contact my company and my team following the contact form that you can find on our website, which is www.internationalexitstrategy.com. We can step in your project as a project managers, as a PMO, as a strategic leaders. I mean, just book a call. Let us know what are your challenges you're facing right now, and we see how we might help you. Happy to be here with you today as well, and see you in the next live. Thank you guys. Bye.